is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
In the headlines, massive floodwaters and mud triggered by a suspected Himalayan avalanche have devastated border communities in Nepal and southwest China. Dozens are dead and hundreds remain missing. At least 14 newborns have died after a fire engulfed a neonatal ward in Islamabad. The tragedy has sparked outrage and investigations into hospital safety failures. Israeli forces have taken control of UNRWA Kalandia Training Center north of Jerusalem, raising the Israeli flag and drawing condemnation from Palestinian and UN officials. US President Donald Trump has temporarily suspended immigrant visa interviews and embassies worldwide, citing a global training program as Washington tightens vetting. Back home, the Senate Impeachment Court warned it will enforce Rule 18 and fine violators of sub judice rules. Meanwhile, OVP Assistant Chief of Staff Limuel Ortonio insisted he followed proper procedures despite being declared a hostile witness. I'm Prince Tripoli. Newsline World starts now. For our first story, Israeli security forces have taken control of UNRWA historic Kalandia Training Center north of Jerusalem, raising the Israeli flag over the campus and drawing swift condemnation from Palestinian leaders and United Nations officials. Verhil Parba reports.
Israeli forces entered the UNRWA Kalandia Vocational Training Center in Kfar Akab for a second day, placing the facility under municipal control and raising the Israeli flag over the compound. Staff were forcibly evacuated as soldiers secured the site. This shuts down UNRWA's last operational facility in the Jerusalem area. The closure ends more than 7 decades of vocational and academic programs for Palestinian refugees.
هذا المعهد كان يقدم خدمات تعليمية لأبناء اللاجئين في كل الضفة الغربية، وفي ننام للطلاب اللي من المناطق البعيدة مثل نابلس وجنين وغزة. من المؤسف جدا أن يحصل ما حصل له حاليا، لأنه بيحرم أبناء اللاجئين شريحة كبيرة من المجتمع من التعليم المهني والأكاديمي حتى يفيدوا أنفسهم ويفيدوا مجتمعهم.
Palestinian and U.S. officials condemned the move as a violation of international protections for UN facilities. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the takeover followed domestic legislation banning UNRWA's operations, while municipal crews moved to repurpose the site as a city-administered community and educational complex. The United Nations reiterated that its properties are protected under international agreement, warning that the closure further cuts Palestinians off from vital education, health, and social services. This has been Verhil Parba, your global citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
US President Donald Trump has temporarily suspended US visa appointments for applicants worldwide as part of the US government's tightened immigration policies. According to the US State Department, a global training initiative has been launched across all US embassies and consulates worldwide. Due to the ongoing training program, appointments for visa applications will be adjusted or delayed. The move forms part of a broader campaign by the Trump administration to tighten immigration rules, which includes the revocation of visas and green cards, as well as the denial of certain visa applications. Among the grounds being monitored are specific political opinions and participation in pro-Palestinian protests related to tensions in Gaza. President Trump stated that the stricter measures aim to bolster internal security within the United States. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department has not yet provided a specific timeline on when the training program will conclude or when standard visa appointment schedules will fully resume. Meanwhile, German authorities evacuated thousands of residents in Berlin's Newsline district on Wednesday after workers uncovered an unexploded 100-kilogram World War II bomb during canal dredging operations. Rahil Parb has a story.
Heavy machinery and canal workers came to a halt along the Weigenufer section of Berlin's Neukölln Canal. Excavators struck a 100-kilogram World War II aerial bomb. Forensic technicians and explosive experts from Berlin police determined that the weapon's fuse mechanisms prevented safe transport, requiring an immediate on-site defusal operation.
Dazu haben wir einen Sperrkreis eingerichtet von 500 Metern im Umkreis um den Fundort. Davon betroffen sind ungefähr 5.600 Haushalte. Innerhalb dieses Sperrkreises unsere Einsatzkräfte, gute 200 an der Zahl, gehen jetzt in die Häuser hinein, sprechen die Menschen auf der Straße an und fordern sie auf, den Bereich zu verlassen. Dazu nutzen wir auch Lautsprecherwagen.
More than 200 police officers deployed door-to-door and operated loudspeaker vans across the 500-meter danger zone to clear residents, while municipal authorities opened emergency shelters at nearby local schools. Unexploded Allied and Soviet ordnance is regularly uncovered across Berlin construction sites. This continued more than 8 decades after the end of the war, frequently forcing major urban shutdowns during render-safe operations. Bomb disposal specialists secured the canal banks and prepared containment barriers as technical teams worked to neutralize the bomb's detonators and reopen Neukölln's shipping lanes. This has been Verhil Parba, your Global Citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Just weeks after the devastating earthquake that rocked Colombia, the country's Medellín International Airport has partially resumed flight operations, but some areas are still restricted. Jane Cudnita has the details.
Aircraft taxiing across the tarmac marked the limited reopening of Medellín International Airport in Pereira. It has been 16 days since a magnitude 7.4 earthquake struck western Colombia, with upper floor roofing severely damaged and structural scaffolding lining the main facade. Airport officials confirmed that operations are currently restricted to the ground level and just 2 boarding gates. Authorities plan to scale flight frequency gradually. They will move from 10 initial flights to up to 18 daily departures as terminal repairs continue.
El día de hoy, 26 de agosto del año 2026, tenemos programados entre entradas y salidas 10 vuelos. Gradualmente se irán realizando las aperturas y aumento de estos vuelos, ya que por las reparaciones y las refacciones que tenemos dentro de la terminal aérea, en este momento debemos arrancar paulatinamente.
Arriving passengers, including overseas relatives returning to check on loved ones, described chaotic reunions and widespread destruction across local neighborhoods. Official emergency figures confirm over 330 deaths nationwide. Thousands are injured and tens of thousands of homes are destroyed. This makes the quake one of Colombia's worst natural disasters in modern history.
Vamos para mi casa, que una parte se cayó, un ranchito que tenía ahí se cayó. Muy angustioso. Al principio no había comunicación. Y luego pude saber que sí que estaban bien, pues que a lo menos están vivos y con salud.
Civil aviation authorities and municipal teams continue to work to restore full terminal capacity, baggage systems, and regional air connectivity across Colombia's coffee axis. This has been Jane Cudnita, Global Citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
A catastrophic surge of mud and flood water triggered by a suspected Himalayan avalanche has devastated border communities across Nepal and southwest China, killing dozens of people and leaving hundreds unaccounted for. Joy Tabanao has the latest updates.
Torrential flash floods along the Butikushi and Trishuli River corridors swept through northern Nepal's Rasua, Nuwakot, and Dading districts before crossing into China's Xizang Autonomous Region. In Nepal, the deluge destroyed bridges, homes, and critical hydropower infrastructure. while over 300 tourists and local residents remain unaccounted for across the mountain region. Preliminary scientific assessments indicate that a massive ice and rock avalanche or glacial outburst upstream may have triggered the sudden, catastrophic water surge. Across the border, a massive wall of mud struck Girong Port in Shigatse, causing heavy casualties, damaging infrastructure, and severing local power and communication lines. Chinese President Xi Jinping ordered an all-out search and rescue operation, deploying hundreds of firefighters, heavy engineering equipment, and a specialized rescue teams. Meanwhile, the Nepal Army and security forces continue helicopter evacuations and relief distributions downstream as communities remain on high alert for secondary flooding risks. This has been Joy Depanao, your global citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
At least 40 newborn babies have died after a devastating fire engulfed a neonatal ward in Islamabad, sparking outrage and high-level investigations into hospital safety lapses. Valdivina Gracia has the details.
Emergency responders, police, and grieving families gathered outside the mother and child health ward at Islamabad's largest public hospital after an early morning fire swept through the third-floor neonatal unit. Eyewitnesses and distraught relatives described chaotic scenes as smoke filled the facility, with bystanders breaking windows to help rescue patients while security forces sealed off doors. According to officials, 14 infants receiving intensive care or oxygen died in the tragedy.
आग लगा हुआ है जब हम जा रहा था तो उन्होंने नहीं छोड़ा था उन्होंने दरवाजा बंद किया सब कुछ बंद किया उन्होंने बोला आप नहीं जा सकते उधर मरीज मर रहा था इन्होंने दरवाजा बंद किया हमने सबको लड़ाई किया उधर शीशे तोड़ दिया सब कुछ तोड़ दिया फिर मरीजों को निकाले.
The blaze was triggered by an air conditioner compressor explosion that quickly ignited nearby medical oxygen cylinders. In response to widespread public outrage over regulatory and safety failures, government ministers promised a zero-tolerance investigation, while Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif ordered an immediate inquiry to hold responsible parties accountable.
जिन जिन लोगों की ये जिम्मेदारी थी अगर उसमें उन्होंने कोताही बरती है तो उनके साथ कानून के दायरे के अंदर वो सलूक होगा कि जो इबरतनाक होगा और आप सब मेरी इस बात को बिल्कुल लिख लें कि इसमें जीरो टॉलरेंस हो.
District authorities and medical oversight boards have established a high-level committee to inspect hospital infrastructure and emergency protocols as funeral proceedings begin for the victims across the capital. Reporting for News and World, this is Valdivina Gracia, SMNA News.
Up next, the Senate Impeachment Court warned it will enforce Rule 18 and fine violators of sub judice rules. Meanwhile, OVP Assistant Chief of Staff Limuel Ortoño insisted he followed proper procedures despite being declared a hostile witness. More news after the break.
Excuse me, attorney. Mr. Zeldarriaga is already here.
Okay, hold on.
these children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity.
And we're back. The Senate Impeachment Court warned it will fine anyone violating Rule 18 or the sub judice rule regarding improper statements outside the court. Meanwhile, Assistant Chief of Staff Limuel Ortonio maintained that all actions by the Office of the Vice President adhere to proper procedures, despite critical remarks from a senator judge. Angel Pastor reports.
Presiding Officer Senator Judge Francis Cheese Escudero issued a ruling on the sub judice rule concerning public commentaries made by the parties in the impeachment trial. Escudero initially allowed private prosecutor attorney Armando Verhiligutan to explain a social media post that appeared to target defense counsel attorney Christine Ferrer's cross-examination questions as misleading. Ligutan maintained he posted as an educator with a duty to correct errors. However, the presiding officer rejected Ligutan's explanation and issued a strict reminder.
Well, you do not remove your hat as a teacher wherever you go. The same is true with this representation. I had my fair share of teaching as well. Under the rules of the Senate, unfortunately, you have to unbundle it. You have to decouple it. Under the rules of the Senate, if you are counsel for the parties, you cannot comment on the merits outside of a fair and true report of what happened.
In his ruling, Escudero warned that lawyers found violating the sub judice rule will face fines and prohibition from speaking during trial proceedings. Financial penalties will also be imposed on violators. Furthermore, the Senate Impeachment Court strictly barred the use of derogatory, offensive, or inflammatory language such as scam or mastermind in upcoming trial proceedings.
Consistent with the chair's earlier ruling, the term scam, mastermind, modus operandi, as used during the past proceedings, stand stricken from the record. Counsel remain free to advance the factual and legal theories underlying their positions, but they must do so through evidence, reasoned argument, and court-appropriate language, not through expressions that prejudge disputed facts, attribute wrongdoing not yet established, cast offensive personalities upon others, or needlessly inflame the proceedings.
Prior to examination, the prosecution requested the presiding officer to bar the defense from using leading questions on hostile witness Limuel Ortonio. Escudero permitted the defense to utilize leading questions, noting that the rule applies equally to both the prosecution and defense. During cross-examination, Ortonio confirmed that the OVP's August 2022 request letter to the Department of Budget and Management did not attach a physical financial plan. Ortonio clarified that a plan was not required under Joint Circular 2015-01. He added that confidential funds were not directly used to fund the OVP's 2022 Good Governance Program or 2023 Socio-Economic Program, but were utilized to ensure the safe execution of those operations. The defense highlighted that under the joint circular, informant details remain highly sensitive. Ortonio confidently responded to interjections raised by Senator judges. Meanwhile, Senator Judge Rafi Tulfo used unparliamentary language after failing to obtain his desired response from Ortonio. Despite the presiding officer's fresh ruling against inflammatory remarks, the presiding officer intervened immediately, ordering the statements stricken or replaced in the official record.
Sir, for me, it really defies logic. Sayang po yung pagkatalino mo rito. Nasira po yung pagiging isang matalino mong tao. Nakakahiya po dun sa mga eskwelahan na kung saan ka nag-aral at nag-graduate. Because ngayon, pinakita mo na nagsasalita ka na para kang, sorry sir, nagtatanga-tangahan. Salamat po sir. Pasensya na sir.
Your Honor, with all due respect, Your Honor, I personally take offense of that comment, sir. I actually just did my duty, sir. At the time, sir, I believe na yun po yung kailangan kong gawin bilang isang empleyado po, sir. And I did my work, sir, based on what was tasked of me, sir, including the limitations that I can do to the duty that I will be doing.
Meanwhile, Senator Judge Robin Hood Padilla asked the prosecution whether they were aware that historical national heroes routinely used aliases. Padilla argued that using aliases for historical figures aligns with modern operational requirements where confidentiality is essential. Prosecutor Divina Gracia stated that whether alias usage is allowable is not a core issue for the prosecution.
Some of it I've already heard. Magmula po 1892 hanggang 1896, ginagamit po nila ang mga alias na yan. Nagkaroon lang po ng isang traidor, ang pangalan ay Teodoro Patiño, na nagbulgar sa Katipunan. Alam po ba niyo yun?
Yes, Your Honor. But the circumstances then were different because we were
Bakit po iba? Bakit po iba? Bakit po na iba?
May gera po nun, sir, and we were under
Wala po ba
occupation.
tayong gera sa NPA? Ang NPA po, merong mga alias. Meron pong ka-Cobra, ka-Agila, ka-Lawin, ka-Tigre, ka-Kapre, ka-Sirena, ka-Adobo, ka-Sinigang, ka-Pansit, ka-Tinola, ka-Sile, ka-Kamote, ka-Bawang, ka-Maxi, ka-Labuyo.
Strictly speaking,
Lahat po yan,
sir,
ginagamit
iba po
na
yung
alias.
internal armed conflict, iba naman din po yung war.
Bakit po na iba? Pareho po itong clear and present danger sa atin.
Padilla also questioned whether the Department of Education currently holds confidential funds, suggesting such resources might help prevent recent school shooting incidents.
Sa palagay niyo po ba, kung meron siyang confidential fund nung panahon na yun, ay nagkaroon siya ng information na merong assassination na magagawa sa kanya?
Likely, Your Honor.
Okay. Salamat po. Pangalawang tanong po. Palagay niyo po ba kung meron confidential fund si former Senator Angara, na sa ngayon ay Secretary ng DepEd, maaari po bang napigil niya ang mga shooting incident sa mga paaralan?
I cannot speculate.
Wala pong speculation. At sa tingin lang po niyo, kung meron siya, sabi niyo po kasi kanina, sumang-ayon po kayo, kung may confidential fund, maaring makapigil, makapagbigay ng kapayapaan, law and order. Sa palagay niyo po ba, kung meron siyang confidential, ano lang naman po yun? Yes or no? Kung hindi po kayo naniniwala, hindi no?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, salamat po. Kayo po.
It can, Your Honor, if the purpose of the confidential fund is to conduct surveillance, Your Honor, on the threats.
Ortonio reiterated that OVP Security Officer Colonel Raymond Lachica performed his duties effectively during confidential operations. He reaffirmed the necessity of confidential funds in carrying out OVP programs and security operations.
It's for the to ensure that the activities of the OVP will be implemented safely and that no untoward na mga mangyayari in the performance of walang mangyayari sa mga different activities ng OVP. That's what I
Walang
understand.
mangyayaring masama sa kanya at dun sa makikilahok. That's an accepted.
For the office and the for the people who will be, say for example, attending mga events, sir.
Kaya hindi lang kay VP, pati sa mga taong makikilahok dun sa event para ligtas silang lahat doon.
Yes, Your Honor.
For God of my beloved Philippines, Angel Pastor, SMNI News.
Vice President Sara Duterte called on the prosecution panel and lawmakers to back their accusations against her with concrete proof rather than political posturing. VP Duterte stressed that allegations in the ongoing impeachment viral must rest on clear and solid evidence instead of insults and disrespect. Sheena Torno has the updates.
Vice President Sara Duterte issued the strong statements regarding the ongoing impeachment proceedings, specifically addressing the prosecution panel's direct examination of hostile witness Limuel Ortonio. During the examination, prosecutors used terms like mastermind, scam, architect, and modus operandi to describe the vice president as the alleged figurehead behind the misuse of confidential funds. That's why Duterte challenged the prosecution and lawmakers to substantiate the impeachment complaints with hard proof. Duterte asserted that trial proceedings should not serve as an avenue to fish for evidence or build unfounded allegations. She emphasized that insults and theatrical displays do not strengthen a case, nor do they prove any legal violation, adding that such antics reveal a weak presentation. VP Sara said the government attention should focus on pressing national issues rather than her trial. According to her, the Marcos administration's priorities are misplaced on the impeachment, splitting the 2027 national budget and altering the Constitution to retain power. Meanwhile, defense panel spokesperson Attorney Michael Poa expressed readiness to take the witness stand in the impeachment trial after the prosecution requested his testimony.
Nung panahon naman na nasa DepEd ako, I think dapat naman sagutin ng mga tanong na yan. And I've always maintained that position. Of course, I cannot waive attorney-client, pero kung ang saklaw naman ng tanong, I think will be on DepEd at anong naging partisipasyon ko, which was the AOM, no? Yung reply lang naman sa AOM. Sasagutin ko naman yan, katulad ng ginawa ko sa House. And I think tama lang naman na sagutin ko siya kahit dito.
Presiding officer Senator Cheese Escudero clarified that issuing a subpoena for POA is unnecessary since he is already physically present in the proceedings. POA previously served as Undersecretary and spokesperson for the Department of Education under Duterte's tenure as Secretary. Separately, POA noted he will consult with VP Duterte regarding the appointment of a new defense spokesperson to comply with Escudero's directive, barring active trial panel members from acting as spokespersons.
Siguro ngayon meron lang sense of urgency. I'll be very frank with you, wala pa tayong nahanap na scope. To be honest, I doubt kung meron na next week.
POA outlined the qualifications the defense seeks in a spokesperson, emphasizing clear communication skills to break down complex legal arguments for the public. The defense prioritizes a spokesperson who maintains a consistent message aligned with their legal strategy. He added that being a lawyer is not a strict requirement, provided the individual can effectively articulate the defense's position. For God and for my beloved Philippines, this has been Sheena Torno, SMNI News.
Country music legend Dolly Parton has passed away at the age of 80 following a brief battle with cancer. Tributes are now pouring in worldwide, led by her goddaughter Miley Cyrus, who delivered an emotional tribute to her beloved Aunt Dolly. Daniela Polito has the showbiz.
Dolly Parton, Tennessee-born singer, died on Tuesday after a brief battle with cancer, according to a statement released by her team. Parton is celebrated globally for iconic songs including Jolene, 95, and I Will Always Love You. Beyond her music, she was a dedicated philanthropist who helped fund one of the first COVID-19 vaccines and poured millions into improving children's literacy. Following the news, Miley Cyrus took to Instagram to honor her godmother. writing that she will always love her and wants to make her proud. Cyrus, also born in Tennessee, added that their most sacred moments were private, staying behind the stage, beneath the glamour and between their hearts. She shared that Dolly would want her to feel it, write a song about it, and then continue on and be strong. Miley's father and Pardon's close friend, Billy Ray Cyrus, also remembered the music icon, calling her a constant part of their lives, on their TVs, and right in their living rooms. Tributes have flooded in from across the entertainment industry to honor the multi-talented legend, including heartfelt messages from Cher, Sabrina Carpenter, Reba McEntire, Beyonce, Keith Urban, Kelly Clarkson, Taylor Swift, and Celine Dion, among many others worldwide. U.S. President Donald Trump also took to social media to pay tribute to Pardon, ordering flags lowered across the United States to mark her passing. That's all for today. This is Daniela Paulita bringing you the latest showbiz.
Philippine tennis sensation Alex Ayala puts in the work on the hard courts ahead of the US Open singles tournament. Coming off a career-high ranking, Ayala shared the court once again with a legendary mentor as she gears up for a historic Grand Slam run. Meanwhile, three-time Grand Slam champion Stan Wawrinka has received a last-minute wild card to compete in the US Open singles draw next week. Carlo De La Peña for the Sports News.
Alexandra Alex Ayala is leaving no stone unturned in her preparation for the US Open. On Thursday morning in Philippine time, the 21-year-old Filipina star locked in another intense practice session at Flushing Meadows. Her training partner, none other than seven-time Grand Slam singles champion and tennis icon Venus Williams. The US Open shared video footage of the two putting in work on the practice courts, showcasing the strong dynamic between the rising talent and the veteran legend. This isn't their first dynamic collaboration. Ayala and Williams previously shared a court as a doubles tandem, reaching the quarterfinals at the Bad Homburg Open last June, before teaming up again at the Canadian Open earlier this month. Ayala has continuously expressed her deep gratitude for the rare opportunity to learn under Williams' wing. Meanwhile, the former world number one had high praise of her own, calling Ayala a world star and an incredible, well-spoken person. Now holding a career best ranking as a world number 18, Ayala is waiting for the official singles draw, where she is projected to earn her highest ever seeding in a Grand Slam main draw. Beyond her main tournament campaign, Ayala will also take center stage in the fan favorite Stars of the Open exhibition activity. She's set to face off against close friend Iva Jovic, with proceeds from the match going to support the USTA Foundation. Meanwhile, three-time Grand Slam champion Stan Wawrinka has received a last-minute wild card to compete in the US Open singles draw next week. The 41-year-old Swiss will replace Patrick Kipson, who withdrew due to injury. The 2016 US Open champion had initially been left off the wild card list, sparking criticism from pundits and former players, including 2003 US Open champion Andy Roddick. Wawrinka, who plans to retire after this season, is currently ranked 127th in the world. He won 2 matches at this year's Australian Open, but lost in the first round of the French Open and Wimbledon. He said he's incredibly excited to return to New York and compete in front of the US Open fans once again. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carlo De La Peña bringing you the latest sports news.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the song. The avenues of excellence are unlimited. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Prince Tripoli. Thank you for watching and goodbye.